Okay, on we go through Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Before we get into that, I just wanted to touch on one of the exercises we did last week. The chords, playing the C scale. That dealio there, which I hope you're practicing in many different ways. I wanted to kind of explain that a little bit more to you, so it's a little bit more than just finger movements. So what we're doing there is when we play that first chord, those are the three notes in a C chord: E, G, and C. And as we go up through that, through those chords that we wrote down, we're going through the C scale, in this case starting on C, in the case of the G string starting on G, and in the case of the D string starting on E. But as we progress up, we're just following the same C scale but starting at a different point in the scale. Okay? Now, not to get heavily into theory, but I just wanted you to understand and have a basic idea of how musicians will often name chords based on their numbers. So when you're in the key of C and you're playing that C chord, that's the one chord. And in the case of the C chord, it's a major chord. It's a C major. When we get to the next chord, which is, we go from C to D, but in this case, because of the way the notes lay out in the C scale, the D chord is minor. So we go from C to D minor. That is referred to as the two chord. If you saw it written in notation, it would be just like two lowercase i's with a dot. So we go from the one chord to the two chord. So we went from C to D. Now we go up to the next chord, which is E. Maybe you can see that it's a minor because it's just the D chord moved up. That's the three chord. Get the idea? The one chord, the two chord, the three chord, the four chord, the five chord, the six chord, the seven, back to the one. Why does that matter? It's not just that we're simply numbering chords as we go through them. Musicians will often refer to those chords, those chord numbers, as a form of shorthand. So if they wanted to go from the C chord all the way up to the A minor, which is the sixth chord, and then go to the F chord, which is the four chord, and then the G chord, which is the five chord, very often what a musician will tell another musician is, it's a 1, 6, 4, 5. So in the key of C, C is 1, A minor is 6, F is 4, and G is 5. So 1, 6, 4, 5. So if somebody was playing a song and they wanted to play those chords in just more conventional fingerings, they go from C, which is 1, A minor, which is 6, F, which is 4, and G, which is 5. So if they wanted to arpeggiate that, which was a very popular chord progression, especially in the 50s and 60s, they go from 1 to 6 to 4 to 5. 1, 6, 4, 5. Now granted, a musician could tell another musician it's C to A minor to F major to G, but musicians have kind of adopted that numerical system so they can just say 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C. And then another musician would know 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C is C, which is 1, A minor, which is 6, F, which is 4, and G, which is 5. And then depending on the key you're in, everything would be relative. If we were starting on G, then G would be 1, A minor would be 2, B minor would be 3, C would be 4, D would be 5, so on and so forth. I just wanted you to have a basic understanding of that concept, and you can practice that even. It's kind of a pretty chord progression. C, A minor, F, G. That chord progression was used in so many songs throughout the years, probably hundreds, literally hundreds. So just wanted to run that by you. And what brought it up is when I look at the arrangement of Hark the Herald Angels Sing, when we get to the key of C, we're starting on a C, going to an A minor, going to a D minor, which would be 2, going to a G, which would be 5. So that'd be 1, 6, 2, 5. If you wanted somebody to play C, A minor, D minor to G, you could just tell them 1, 6, 2, 5. Then there would be C, A minor, D minor, G, so on and so forth. Just wanted to run that by you. Like I said, it's worth knowing. Just a tidbit of information to add to your overall understanding of music, and that's slightly getting into theory there. Because they use the chord numbers. If you were to take a course in music theory, you would come across those chord numbers all the time, because that's the form of notation they generally use. So getting back to this, let's review. So we had that's what we have so far. So we're going to pick it up down on the bottom 3 lines. So we immediately see that 1, 6, 2, 5 again. We have the C chord to A minor 7, going to the 2 chord, the D minor. Now when you play that D minor, I would recommend using the pinky on the D note there, because we're going to be sliding up to the G like that. So we have, and it's convenient because on the A minor 7 we have our pinky there. Just bring it up for the D minor. Everything kind of just falls nicely into place from the A minor 7 to the D minor. So keep that in mind. We always want to notice those finger shapes, because if we do, so when we're going from C to A minor, it's just a matter of lifting that finger. Going to the D minor, we just do a little flip-flop there, and we're on the D minor. So you can see how little motion is involved there. And you want to make note of that and move the fingers as little as possible. Then we come up to this G with this E note in the melody. And then we're going to create a nice little bass line there. From G to F, which works really nice. Once again, since we're talking about listening for lines, listen to that bass line, because that's going from G to F, And that's taking us down to that E in the next measure, playing it from the beginning of that line. Look for that. When you play this E minor, once again, I don't think you could use anything but the pinky. But you want that continuity because you're going to that A minor 7 there with that, and you're keeping that melody note. From the beginning of that line. To that A minor 7. Now in the next line for the D minor, we're coming off the A minor 7. Then we're going to go up and play open, 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 7, 6. I would use ring finger, middle finger there, and then go down from the 7, 6 to the 5, 5. And then when we get to the G, we just have to drop the bass note. From that might take a little practice, but once again, try to minimize the amount of motion that you put the hand through. From the beginning of the new section. There's our hand shape. Now remember a week ago, maybe a week or two, at most two, we talked about playing that F scale and then that F chord. Well, here it comes. Because it's not the easiest chord in the world to grab, and I'm going to give you an alternate to it in case you just have too much trouble with it. But let's assume for the moment that you can play it, but I'm going to give you the alternate in case you're having trouble with that. It isn't an easy chord to play. I find on this ovation with the wide nut, it's particularly difficult to play. Your guitar, if you still have that Martin mahogany, beautiful guitar, that's only, it's got a thinner nut, so it might be a little easier for you to grab that chord, depending on, you know, other factors too, but I find the neck width makes it a little bit trickier. So we're coming off this G chord. I was talking about the shape. So the shape of these three fingers, the position of these three fingers is going to stay the same. They're going to go here, from here to here, right? And then we're just adding the bass note. So keep in mind, once again, when you're going from this G to this F, just move the fingers to the proper strings. So important in order to get, you know, that connection, not have everything kind of come off the rails there. It's putting that pinky in that is the more difficult finger to get down. Not impossible, but just a little tricky. So we get there, we're on that F, and then we're going from that F to an A. Bringing the pinky over and getting that 8th fret. Let me put that in context from the beginning of the new section. That's what we have there. Now, if you find that difficult, you can put an open A in the bass. In other words, just play that much of the chord and play a first inversion F. And then when you go to the A chord, just keep that A in the bass for both of those chords. So when we're looking at the F chord and the A chord, instead of having the low note be 8 and 7, it can be open A and open A, if you need it to be. So I'm going to play it both ways so you can hear it, starting from the new section. Or okay? It sounds okay. Kind of have a pedal A there. So you pick which one works for you. In either case, when after we play that A chord and the pinky comes over and grabs that 8, then we just want to slide that down to get that D minor. From the A chord, or if you're using the open A, same thing. A7, back to D minor, passing note, just a passing bass note, that's all that 3 is there at the end of that line, which is taking us down to this inverted G, C, inverted F, using my thumb there, 6, 7, 6, 7. And then we repeat back to the F. And once again, when you repeat back to that F, put in whatever bass note you want. I'm going to use the F for now. Second ending. Okay. Looking at that second ending, once again I'm going to point out bass notes. So we have an inverted F chord, first inversion, to an inverted G chord, to a root position C chord. Using the inversions, so we get that walking up bass line. You get a little kind of counter motion because the melody's going up and then back down, whereas the bass line is going up, up, up. So listen for that. The more you play and kind of can key in with your ear on the notes that you're actually playing, the better off your playing is going to be from the standpoint of just being a more complete musician, being able, hearing, I've talked about it, being able to hear what you play, hear what others play, is really gratifying. It just builds your appreciation for what you're doing, makes it more musical, and much less of just an exercise of finger movements. So I'm going to do a play along now of the version in the key of C. We kind of talked about last week about how to connect them. Next week I'm going to connect everything together and give you an example of that and kind of put this to rest. But for now we'll just end with a play along. Let's see, I just happen to have my metronome here. We will Try 68. One, two, three, four. One more time, and this time when I get to that F to A chord, towards the end, I'm going to put the A in the bass. Open A string. 2, 3, 4. Okay, there you go. Hope you're enjoying playing this and putting it all together, and hopefully learning a few things along the way. So we'll leave it at that for now. Hope you had a good holiday weekend and are having some time off to just enjoy life, play a little more guitar, do whatever it is you like to do. So wishing you well, and we'll talk to you later. And of course, any questions, you know where to direct them. I'm always available for additional videos and consultation. Bye-bye.